it's safe. There's no one here, so I can take my mask off. So this is based upon an old formula that is mainly composed of antiviral herbs, all kinds, and it just is one way to actually help yourself in a whole path towards wellness and staying well. So the story goes that way back in the Middle Ages, these 4 dudes were going in during the plague, and they were raiding and looting the homes of the dead. The church caught them, and they were sentenced to death at the stake. But the judge apparently cut a deal with them and asked them, in exchange for the secret to their immunity, they would be spared, which apparently is what happened. So they told him they were spice merchants, so the story goes. And these spice merchants were using clove and cinnamon and rosemary and lemon. But this is back in the day before we really had access to essential oils. They were there, but they were very costly. So these guys were using vinegar. In fact, the original name for Thieves oil was Marseilles vinegar, and it was a vinegar solution. And the vinegar solution has been used throughout history. In fact, the medieval doctors' masks during the plague, the bird mask, the front part, the bird beak was filled with rags that had been soaked in that vinegar. And so they're constantly breathing in these antimicrobials. So we're going to make a really simple version of that, and we're calling it 6 Thieves oil, because in around 1992, 1993, Gary Young, who's an herbalist, he kind of was studying this formula, and he did bring this formula back into existence. And he added eucalyptus radiata, which is particularly brilliant because what I've read, studies show that eucalyptus is most potent as an antiviral in its vapor form, not in the liquid form. So breathing in through the lungs is really a great way to get eucalyptus into your body, and that is where it is most perfect as an antiviral. So he added that into it. So his is really a 5 Thieves oil, but because of those 5 thieves cheating death, I like that line. But you can make 6 Thieves oil, which is what I did. And the reason I did that was I was using vinegar. I'm sorry, not vinegar. I chose not to use vinegar because I didn't want to smell like a salad. So I use a licorice tincture. And the reason I'm choosing licorice as the base carrier is that licorice has been shown to be specific on this coronavirus, COVID, SARS as well. And studies back in the day before this whole madness took place was showing that licorice was actually a very powerful antiviral, and it affects DNA and RNA replicating viruses. And so it's specific for this specific issue. Doesn't mean you shouldn't ignore other things. Doesn't mean you should just eat licorice. And don't just eat red licorice whips, because they're not going to work. You need the licorice, that is the root. So I have this, I already have this tincture here. And what I was going to do is just add some of these essential oils. And the first one, so I didn't bring a little measuring thing, but so I'm just going to do, I can do old school and just splash it in, is that right? Okay, well,
I do.
I'm going to do old school, splash it in, but you would, if you were doing this, like if you were doing an ounce, so I should do this really fast. So remember, the thing about these essential oils is they are very, very, very concentrated. You really don't want to put it in your mouth. You really don't want to do it internally at all. You could ruin your kidneys. You wouldn't have to worry about coronavirus then. And there are certain herbs that we would stay away from, like thyme is one of the very strongest. And I told this story before, but this story, thyme oil, when I was younger, I worked at the Los Angeles Zoo. And when you would work in nursery with the baby animals, you had to go into a little room, and it had 2 doors, and you went in the one door, and you were stepping in this giant sponge, and it was just soaked in thyme oil, and that's all they used. They didn't use any chemicals. Because thyme oil, there's no way for viruses to actually develop an immunity to it, because it changes every year. And that's the thing about these herbs. They're not the same. It's not like a pharmaceutical that's the same darn formula, same exact thing. Time and time again, there is a way for these things to develop immunity. They don't do that because every year is different. The season's different, the terpenes are different, everything changes. So they can't do that. So that's why I think that's why these are such a brilliant little addition to someone's healthcare pack. So this is clove oil, and so I am using that one. And clove oil is pretty lovely, and it is an antiviral. It's also does make. I mean, most people know clove oil from the dentist because it also has the numbing agent. So I'm just gonna put, and this one is the one, when they did their formula, it was clove oil was the most, and they went down in terms of clove oil, then cinnamon, then lemon, then rosemary, because rosemary is really strong. So we would do like a big splash of this clove oil in here.
Mitcho, is that a clove essential oil, or is
This is essential oil of clove bud.
Okay.
And this is really nice. This is from Mountain Rose. They do some nice, and you can buy it. You know, it seems like this is a lot of money because something like this is probably like $200, maybe $250.
How many ounces is that?
But this is, I think, 8 ounces. And you get a little bottle like this, and that's still, what, like $40 maybe or more? So it's actually a really good deal to get it in a bigger thing. And then the second one we'll do is cinnamon. And this one is in little droppers, so we'll just, I already put some in here, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm gonna do 25 of that one. And then lemon, believe it or not, lemon is actually one of the best antivirals, which is why lemon is so, you know, I was talking again about like drinking lemon tea when you're sick. That's actually really smart. That's an old thing, but I never really thought, I just thought it was to make me feel better, but it's actually quite antiviral in itself. So we'll do some lemon, and lemon is relatively safe. But I'm still only do like 20. I don't know how many that was, but I'm pretending that was 20. But lemon is one of those ones you could get away with. Well, actually, most of these, except for the rosemary, or even that one, you could use them in cooking, but it would be low. You know, you could take this lemon and put about 5 drops in an ounce of olive oil, and then you could cook with that, and that would be reasonably safe. But you never want to drink this. You never want pennyroyal essential oil.
That's right.
And then this is rosemary, and the rosemary is stronger. It's towards more like the thyme and some of those other really interesting. And that's another thing about these, they're all culinary herbs. And I think the reason they're all culinary herbs, not only because they taste so lovely, but also because of that whole antimicrobial stuff back in the day when we didn't have the refrigeration. These were the things that people turned to help them preserve their food and not get sick. So I'm only gonna do about 10 of this one.
Did you want to say something about also not having essential oils like in a soda or something like that?
Yeah, no, you don't want to put drops of this and then soda water. That would not be good. But you could actually put drops of this into like a larger thing of syrup. Like if you made like a big thing of syrup and you put that in there, that would be fine. And then somewhere, well, I don't know where I put it. I have eucalyptus, but I didn't bring it, so we'll pretend it's in there. The fifth thing would be eucalyptus. We talked about that. And then I kind of want, the other one that I was reading about recently, which made me think I was going to add a little bit to it, is bergamot. Believe it or not, bergamot is high on the list of antivirals in terms of what it deals with. Different and remember there's a lot of viruses, and that's one of the issues with this coronavirus is it's not influenza. Influenza is a different family of virus. Elderberry is specific for that. And elderberry is still a really good plant to use if you're sick, and also just to bring up your immunity. But it's not going to really be as effective. Like if you have influenza and you drink elderberry tea, you're going to really get better faster than someone who's not. I'm just going to put a little of this, but I don't have a dropper on here, so. All right, so there we go.
So how many drops were you going to put eucalyptus?
Eucalyptus, I put about 10 in there. And you could do more. I mean, if you were doing it for yourself, and but it's still, that's pretty strong. I mean, I did put a chunk of clove in here. So, and then it's pretty much ready to go. And what we've been doing is we've been putting them into little spray bottles like this or this. I don't think I need to do that right now. But this is basically thieves oil. And it's actually been diluted enough. There's another thing, you don't want to take something like rosemary oil or thyme oil and put it directly on your skin. you can actually burn yourself with some of those oils. So this one has been diluted in the licorice, and so it's actually relatively safe. It makes the whole place smell really nice. Every time I have one in my car. Every time I get in my car, I hotbox myself in the car. I will say I was laughing. I had to have my blood work done at Sutter last week, just routine blood work. And when I came out, I sprayed this in my hand. I was walking out, and they had these people in the front. And they had a table, and they had masks, and they were like screening. Have you been traveling? Have you coughed? Have you coughed this week? It's like, okay. So I'm walking by and rub my hands. Doing this, rub my hands and then rub my hands, and they were looking at me like in horror, like they couldn't believe it. But I was rubbing this stuff on, and I was like thinking I was pretty good.
They're gonna quarantine you.
Yeah, no, they didn't. You know, you can also get these small little perfume carrier bottles, which I think are actually a little more elegant than these, and they're the same deal, but you can refill them. So there's options there.
Yeah.
And you can also, here, I'm gonna run over here. You can also have with a little soda water, you can make a little licorice syrup. And this licorice syrup also has ginger, because that's a really nice stimulant, so you can circulate the ginger, and lemon. And this, I did use lemon oil, but I only used 5 drops in this big thing. And so that brings that back into the lemon and the licorice. So,
Mitcho, could I just take some of the essential oils and run it through a diffuser? Like
yes.
4 or 5 of the
In fact, that
oils?
would be a great idea. Like, you could take the blend itself without the alcohol carrier, and you could just make a blend.
Like a couple drops of each?
Yeah,
Or
in fact,
one
that's-
of each, or
I would say just a couple drops.
or just combine it maybe and then?
Well, first, like I would make like an ounce of just essential oils. Like you mix them ahead of time
Okay.
with your ratios, and the ratio again, I would go from weakest to strongest. So I would do like the most clove, like maybe like 4 parts clove, and then 3 parts cinnamon, and then 2 parts lemon, and 1 part rosemary. That'd be a really easy way to do it. You can add other stuff, you know, sandalwood. There's a reason that people wear sandalwood on their head. That's another one. There's all kinds of, a lot of these essential oils are antimicrobial.
Can I say something about
Yeah.
the infusion thing though, because it can be deadly to cats.
Oh, you're right.
Yes,
It can be
and
what?
cats are very sensitive to
Oh,
essential
animals, yeah.
oils, and so are parrots and birds like that. So be really careful about where you're spraying it, and be mindful.
Or if you have a diffuser.
Yeah, a diffuser should not be in the same, like my cat's in the bathroom, so I do incense, but I don't do essential oils. So, I'm trying to think, so this is I already talked about that, I think I'm done, right? Is that it?
Thank you.
Yay,
Any questions?
thank you.
You're welcome.
So,
Yes,
yes, I do have a question. So the licorice is a tincture that you make?
it is a tincture. You can get licorice essential oil.
Oh, wow.
I did order it.
Wow.
It won't come for about another week, they said. I was hoping to get it earlier on. And then again, I don't know that, I haven't really done my research on that yet. I've never used it. I didn't know they made it.
Yeah.
I know that they make licorice, like licorice, not just tinctures, but you can get the licorice flavoring. You have to make sure it's licorice and not anise. You have to make sure it's the real thing, 'cause while they're similar, they're not the same. And I don't know if I don't think those properties, I didn't read that about anise. I only read that about licorice.
Okay.
So I would be careful of that.
Okay, and what alcohol percentage did you use in your tincture?
In this one, I used alcohol percentage, the tinker, I used 40, it was 48.5%.
Okay.
It was a 90 proof alcohol, organic alcohol that I diluted half in water.
Okay.
And even that is probably a little overkill. You could use just vodka with this
Yeah.
stuff. You could go, as someone at home saying, I don't know how to do this, you can get licorice pretty easily. You can get licorice at herb shops. You might even be able to get licorice root at Whole Foods.
Probably
then Oliver's
Community
Market.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then you can just, the tincture, you can just use vodka.
Yeah.
You don't have to use a strong alcohol for that.
And then when you're making a list that you would, the weakest to strongest, I think of clove as being strong, so
Yeah.
can you explain that, like why you
Well,
put
clove
clove
is
and then?
strong, but in terms of
Antiviral?
antiviral
Okay.
and also reaction to your own body. Like my own thing, thyme is the strong one, the very strongest, and I don't use thyme oil. I'm really careful with that one. I don't put it on my skin neat. Clove oil is relatively mild. Like you can dip a toothpick in that, and you can pick, when it dries, you pick your teeth with it. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to numb. That's what dentists actually still use clove oil with that long thing that's sticking about here. So it's relatively safe, as is cinnamon, but again, don't want to drink it. it's straight up like this. It needs to be diluted. But lemon is a little bit, that's a little stronger. And that's why lemon is in so many cleaners. It's a great antiviral, and it's an antibacterial, antifungus, antifungal. So it does all antimicrobial. It's a really, but thyme is, and rosemary, which is in that same family of thyme, they're all kind of, those guys, sage is another one, they're strong. So you have to be careful with those. So you use those at half is what you would do the clove. Or less.
So is it possible to make a tincture along with the licorice, that you would use those herbs themselves to like help reinforce
Yes.
it, to make it?
Yeah, and that was the
stronger?
original formula, as I was saying, it was a vinegar.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a tincture, it was vinegar, and it wasn't the essential oils, it was rosemary. And I've been doing that, one of the things I am noticing I do all the time, I used to always do it anyways, but now I really do it, is rosemary. It grows outside of libraries, outside hospitals, everywhere. So the minute I see it, walking by, in or out, I grab a piece and I crush it, I smell that rosemary and bring that in, and you can do that. It's everywhere. Rosemary is a great landscape plant, and it's everywhere, and it's easy, and it's a really strong antimicrobial. And it tastes good.
Right.
All right.
So
Okay.
someone can just use, like vodka as a base, they don't?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. You don't have to use
Like
the
if you
stronger
weren't gonna
stuff.
go through the whole process of having the licorice, that would be a good base of the oils for
Yeah.
people that don't want to.
I mean, because even if you were doing a hand sanitizer, you don't need that strong of an alcohol. You said it's like 60.
60 to 70.
Yeah, but I don't. With these oils in there, they're gonna get everything.
Yeah.
Not everything, but you get a
Or
lot.
is vodka the one that's like, what kind of alcohol, because we can't get Everclear, like if someone was to go to the market.
Bacardi 151
Okay,
is still on the market, and so you can get that one.
okay,
You can get Everclear. Everclear is one of those ones where sometimes it's legal and sometimes it's not. Like it's kind of like Ma Huang, the Fedra. Every year, like this year it's legal, and the next year it's not, and the next year it's legal. So you got to order it in the legal years.
yeah.
So you got to go to
Gotta
liquor
hoard
store
all
in the
that,
legal years
hoard it.
for Everclear, or you go to Nevada.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
That's where I used to
Mexico,
go up to. My mom lives in Placerville. I used to every time I was up there, I just drive up to like South Lake Tahoe and buy Everclear.
there you go.
And then you just put it in the spray bottles and voila.
Yeah, just spray bottles, or if it was just the oils, a diffuser. I mean, there's so many. I guess there's a lot of other ways you could do it, but
Cool.
yeah. I was talking about Marie Antoinette's perfumer, and he would make kid gloves for her. His autobiography came out, and I read it. It was really good. And one of the things that he was doing though was he was putting this stuff into soaking the gloves in antivirus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Doesn't work on those plastic latex gloves.
Yeah.
They don't. They in fact, I think you put the oil in it. Would they just like pump
Dissolve
apart?
it.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
totally
Dissolve it.
What?
A handkerchief would be.
The hanky would be great, or the masks. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Welcome.
Thank you for also explaining the part about how plants are changing, just like the viruses are changing,
Yeah.
the plants are changing. I
Plants
didn't
are
know that.
changing. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
why
so-
they don't get immunity to plants, but they do to pharmaceuticals, and that's a real
Yeah.
thing. Because every year, the plant, and that's also why, I mean, I always bring that up because of my cannabis stuff, but it's why doctors can't stand cannabis, because it changes every year. You can't just say every year there's a pill, it's the
Yeah.
same pill, it'll work the same way, all the strains and everything, it's all this, like, it's so different, and everyone's so different, and so.
So
it-
much like the viruses.
Yeah, so,
that are morphing and
Yeah, the
changing.
viruses
So we're
cannot
the
adapt.
plants to adapt.
It's pretty
right.
great.
That's
And the other interesting
amazing.
thing, and I think the Trinity said this, but I've heard this many times, these guys, these biological antimicrobials do not attack the flora, your native flora. I said flora and fauna, miss. The flora and fauna of your skin. It doesn't kill it, but whereas the chemical sanitizers, they're indiscriminate. They just kill everything.
Right.
And you can end up with worse immune problems
Yeah.
than before. And like kids using hand sanitizers with antibiotics in it, that'd be awful.
Yeah. What about folks that are using isopropyl alcohol?
See, I don't like isopropyl alcohol.
Makes it really
it-
hard on your skin.
They don't, it came, that was like the massage alcohol, they don't even, massage therapists do not touch that crap.
Yeah.
Um,
But Jethro Clausen, his book Back to Eden, which
Yeah.
like in the early days, in the sixties,
Yeah.
that was the herbalist Bible.
Uh-huh.
That was one of the famous formulas. was
Because it's
rubbing
good,
alcohol.
and at that
Oh,
time,
wow.
it was really good, and it's still actually
Yeah.
okay, I
Well, we
think,
use it
but
to
I don't
clean
use it on my skin, but if you're using it on a countertop, that's totally
Not the
legit.
surface.
Very different, yeah.
And good, and
Yeah.
it's good for sterilizing things,